I could say a lot here about the so-called rise of the red pill and the so-called rise of the black manosphere. Although it's just been nothing but a winosphere, because when you have no answers, that's all you can really do. So I'm different. What makes me radically different is that I don't sit up and focus on problems so much as I present solutions to them. And then other folks sit there and pretend they didn't see the solutions, because solutions show up looking like hard work. That's the problem. Solutions show up looking like hard work. I'm going to say a few things tonight, and it's going to upset some people, but so be it. You know, there's too much complaining going on, and there's too much whining going on from a group that is not ready to lead in so many regards. Because when it is time to present with their accomplishments, that's not happening. For the last couple of years, we've been at the forefront of discussing the Valentine's Day thing. And, you know, so much of what's been going on has been an effort to really, I guess, become the mirror opposite of Oprah and Friends, where the males spend their time complaining about what the females ain't doing for them. I turn a lot of people off because I don't sit up here and go easily for the silly talk. We're the adult section of the room. We're the adult section of the theater. So for that reason, that's not what we talk about. We talk about where you find your answers at. And I just want to say something here. The reason why I have never been the go-to place for the fresh and fit set, the former Kevin Samuels audience, Rollo Tomasi and the rest of them, the reason why is because my experience is not their experience. These guys are all running around pretending that they have a reach or a pull or some gravitas in female society that they really don't. Rollo is sitting on the outside pontificating about what it was like when he was on the inside, allegedly. Fresh and Fit are lying their way through lives, and they're neither on... These two guys are a paradox. They're neither on the outside nor the inside. Kevin Samuels never substantiated anything. So there have been a bunch of people who get on YouTube and they're trying to make money off of things, but what they don't try to do is make sense and make a difference. My experience has been radically different. It's a radically different experience. So when I hear people say certain things, when I hear people talk about certain things, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why on God's green earth would I travel to the other side of the world, even if this is what you're going to say, travel to the other side of the world for a female who will cook and clean and be sexually available to you when you're stumbling over it here every day? Why on earth would you do such an insane thing? Why would you do that? But then it kind of came to me. It kind of came to me because we're dealing in an ultra uncompetitive environment, an ultra unproductive environment. Now here's where you're going to hate me. Where the men are concerned. Fellas, most of you, and I'm going to say this the way I mean it, most of you, including those who are listening here right now, most of you are not productive. Most of you are not competitive. Most of you do not have the ability to reward your friends, much less punish your enemies. Most of you don't have the ability to do that, which I suppose is the reason that you're sitting here. But understand something. This isn't supposed to be like church where you come for the rest of your whole life and nothing ever changes. If you're not going to alter and upgrade, there's no reason for you to be here. By definition, this is a place for the elite. By definition, this is a place where the circle will remain small. You see, when you're in a place where nothing gets done and nothing changes, except for the grifters at the top, that can get big. That can get circus tent big. That can get TD Jakes big. Hell, that can get political party big. When you're in a place where nobody actually expects results. In this place, I expect results. Now, as you all know here, we have an event that's coming up here next Tuesday. Because I wanted this year to be different. Just the bottom line is I wanted this year to be different. I've already done 2 Valentine's Day events. What more do you want me to say? Is that supposed to be the annual tradition? So now you become Rollo Tomasi and fresh and fit. Now that just becomes something used to get eyeballs. Hey, if you're sitting up here standing in the middle of the damn pig pen, you can jump up and down venting your frustration, or you could do something intelligent. Get up and walk out of it. If you find yourself standing in a pig pen, you could jump up and down and curse and scream and yell about being in the pig pen, or you could do something sensible like get up and walk out. I'm not going to sit up here and jump up and down in the pig pen. I'm the guy who says, hey, you know what? That's when you finish venting, when you're going to get up and walk out. So this year, categorically going to be different. I was not going to do the same thing. This year was going to be demonstrably different. And the difference was going to be, hey, we're going to talk about what you're going to do here. We're going to talk about what you're going to do here. So this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull back the curtain. And for all these fellas who sit up here and have been saying for the longest damn time, there ain't nothing you can do. All the young all the females is fat and got kids and don't know how to cook and clean. I'm like, what? Your options in females actually reflect your productivity or lack thereof. It reflects your lack of productivity or lack thereof. So what I did was say, well, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and put that to the test? Why don't we go ahead and put it to the test? See how it goes. Because I know what's reality. So for about the past little over a week, it's really only been a little over a week. And I said, you know what? To the fellas, if your money is right, and for some of y'all, if your money is marginally right, go ahead and give me a holler. And then I said, for the females, if you are a female who is looking for a man, let me know. Let me know. And I got to tell y'all, I've literally gotten dozens of females who have contacted me in just the last little over a week. Last night, I told you all that we were going to stop taking submissions to be part of the Valentine's Day event. That we were going to, the business meetup, we were going to stop taking people submitting yesterday, February 7th. Don't you know, in the 30 minutes to midnight, I got over a dozen females bum rushed the door at 30 minutes to midnight. Got over a dozen of them. I already had several dozen already. Got over a dozen more in the last 30 minutes. Now I'm going to tell you something else. We were already outnumbered. The men were already outnumbered. Already. The ladies already outnumbered the men, and then 30 minutes to midnight, it blew every damn thing else out the water. Some of the ladies gave me permission to go ahead and post the pictures that they sent. They gave me permission for some of the ladies who are going to be taking part in the event. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at this and I'm just saying to these guys, what world are you all, if you're not experiencing the same results, I'm asking myself, what are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong? I'm really trying to figure out, what are you doing wrong? Because I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing. I don't see what you're seeing. I just don't see what you're seeing. Somebody explain to me how in the hell, if you were listening to these jokers as long as you were or have been, and you're still getting the same results and still got the same complaints, and you're saying ultra sexually perverted things like, let's go sex touring with our passports. I'm just trying to wonder here, dude, if you are that dude, you're going to get the same response anywhere on this planet. So I gotta take a look at the fellas and I gotta say, I don't know. I don't know. I got questions. Grown ass men who would rather be laying on top of their Xbox than laying on top of, well, you get the idea. I got questions. I got questions. On top of everything else here, because, if you got a chick, she's cute in the face, slim in the waist. All right, that's all great and everything. But what else do they do? I got cooking videos from everybody on the screen except Trap Queen over there on the right. She's trying to be Miss Marjorie Harvey. Shout out Trap Queen. That's my girl and everything, but you know how you doing. You know how you moving. I ain't mad at you. All respect. Everybody cooks. Everybody does all that. Oh yeah, and they hold down a full-time job. The chick in the middle, she lives in Ireland. She's Nigerian, half Nigerian, now Irish. She was one of the first ones to contact me. First one to send a cooking video to, by the way. She was the first one to do that. I've got submissions from around the world. I got another chick in Norway, another one in Sweden, another one in France. If I don't run them off. And I'm sitting here asking myself, what are you doing? What are these guys doing? What are they doing? How in the world are we hearing this? And I just came to one conclusion. Productive men are in super heavy demand because unproductive men are in super heavy supply. It is what it is. Productive men are in super heavy demand because unproductive men are in super heavy supply, and we need to just say that like it is. We need to say that like it is. There is no reason in Northeast damn hell let me tell you something. I've got dozens of females, because you can only have like 50 rooms on Zoom. So we're almost fully booked for the numbers that we can have on Zoom. Let me tell you, I told you before, over a dozen of the females are under the age of 30. Half of those are under the age of 24. So we're not talking about a bunch of chicks pushing, what Rolo called that, the epiphany phase. We're not talking about a bunch of chicks pushing that. The chick in the middle is 22. By the way, the chick in the middle is 22. I've got a number of them from 18 to 29. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's something for you to remember. What I'm going to do here is go ahead and open up the phone lines. Daily Dose in the chat room. And Mark, both of you need to give us a call right now. I've opened up the telephone lines here, so let me go ahead and get that open for you so you fellas can go ahead and give us a call. Daily Dose and Mark, we've gone ahead and opened up the phone lines for you since you've had so much to say. I certainly wouldn't want you to miss this since you've got so much to say, because y'all got to understand, on the internet, incels are, when the internet first started, It was overrun with two main groups. Back in the late 80s, when the commercial internet became a thing, the two main groups on the internet were white supremacists and pornographers. The two main groups on the internet were white supremacists and pornographers. Well, guess what? 30 years later, guess what you got? White supremacists and incels who watch pornography. They are totally socially inept, not just awkward, socially inept. Fellas who don't have a female who would ever compete to be with him, be near him. He's never known what that's like. You know why? Because he's been a loser his whole life, and rather than step his game up, what he's practiced doing is putting in chat rooms about his sexual frustrations. Can we just say it like it is? I've never been that dude who's really been heavy about saber rattling, about, quote, dope boys. I was the guy who started telling everybody, you know what? The dope game is really dead. Who are these fellas talking about? The chicks only want dope boys. The dope game is dead. It's been dead since 2000, 2005. It's been dead. All the big time dope dealers are gone. They legalized weed. Dope game is dead. Ain't no ballers out there anymore. Ain't no shot callers out there anymore. They gave all of them life sentences. And then they legalized the weed, so ain't nobody making no money like that. So who are these fools still talking about the girls just want thugs and dope dealers? That's what the girls want. That's all they want there. You know who in the hell is saying that? I'll show you exactly who the hell is saying that. This is the dude saying it. Now they've got great big huge enclaves online, red pills, and what they really need to call them is lazy pills. None of these guys are sitting in those groups talking about this is what they built, this is what they've accomplished. Let me just say this in plain and simple English. A female ain't gonna lose a damn thing if you got hit by a tour bus. But more importantly, neither your family nor your friends nor anybody else is going to lose anything. You're an Xbox warrior who shows up in chat rooms and says silly things because you're used to getting kicked out. So when you actually come into the circumference of real men, that's a shocking experience for you. To see a grown-ass man rubbing himself down with a PS5 video game console. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. I've had a number of males sit up here and tell me, I'm going to say it, had a number of males sit up here and tell me that they wanted to pay just to watch. Nigga, watch what? Watch what? You guys have been engaging in pornography so long that it has rubbed your competitive brain centers raw. Everything is about observation. Instagram, observation. Xbox, observation. Pornography, observation. Nothing is about participation, much less excellence. It's about observation. So the real issue here is that the females are like, I'll be damned. Do you got somebody who's got some drive and ambition in his big damn toe? Here comes Kevin Gates. Oh, she's like, hey, if that's the only horse riding. The alternative are the fresh and fit Rollo Tomasi audience, who've literally been sitting there for years. In the case of Rollo's folk, over a decade, regurgitating his books, talking about this, that, and the other. No results to show for it. As a group, that whole conversation should be dead. That whole conversation should be dead. But it isn't. And that's the shameful part of it. It isn't. So I'm sitting up here right now with literally the female count is about 2, actually going on 3 to 1. 3 to 1. That's literally what we got lined up for next week is 3 to 1. This is in an internet environment here. This is in an internet environment. And the only conclusion that you can come to in this regard is that there's a whole bunch of dudes who think that what we're supposed to do is go out here and whine and moan and tell the females they need to sit up here and just accept you where you are. That we're going to sit up here and do the Oprah Winfrey thing for the males and just bully the females into just saying, well, I mean, if he ain't about nothing right there, I mean, ain't that good enough, though? No, the real issue here is that these guys are getting they're getting their pay grade. Just truth be told, they're getting their pay grade. And it's offensive to them. Because they're seeing exactly what they qualify for. And they're like, wait a minute, this must be the wrong room. Nope. This is what you qualify for. This is it right here. What they want us to do is sit up here and tell them that some broke down cootie bill dude, it qualifies for whatever he wants to walk in the room with. And now we got a situation, and this is going to upset you even more. There's a reason why I make my delivery so polarizing. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of you dudes today now, you're more comfortable in the presence of other males complaining than you are in the presence of a female and winning. Now, there's the reality of it. A lot of y'all are a lot more comfortable sitting in the presence of a bunch of other neutered, castrated, buck-broken, beta-eyed, honey nut Cheerio eating dudes than you are in the presence of a female and winning. That's the issue. Truth be told about it. I don't have a solution for you. I don't have an answer for you. I have one for everybody else. I don't have one for a fellow who's saying, hey, how can I win and be unproductive? I don't have a solution for you. By the way, the phone lines are open. Let me go ahead and get to them. Let me go ahead and open up the Zoom while I'm at it. And I was not going to be broadcasting tonight. I was looking forward to just taking care of everything else. But then that happened last night at the last minute. And what it tells you here is there's a whole bunch of folks just whining for the sake of it. But the truth right now is that productive men are in low supply. If you all feeling what I'm talking about, give me the hammer emoji. If you agree that productive men who are building and producing, are in low supply but heavy demand, give me the hammer emoji and hit the likes button. We're already starting out with over 1,500 people. Give me the hammer emoji and hit the likes button. Mama's boys everywhere, beware. If you're looking for somebody to comfort you in your failing, this ain't the joint. Caller from area code 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Jackie Candor, and I'm calling from Harlem.
Hello, Jackie from Harlem. What's on your mind?
The business. You just answered my question in the past minute and a half about you don't have the solution, you don't have the answer. So, I know a fella that he passed on his whole opportunity for just public assistance housing, just like that. I mean, there's opportunities for men to thrive, and you think they're afraid of being on public assistance just because it goes against their reputation or something?
Well, I mean, to a fellow who is willing to accept that. See, this is the other issue that we have here. They're not ashamed. That's the real bottom line of it, is they're not ashamed. I would be ashamed to be that unproductive. I would be ashamed to not have any options. I would be ashamed. I couldn't stand in the company of other men, my banker, my lawyer. For me, it's always been about improving my position. I couldn't stand in their company knowing that my position has either stagnated or worsened. These guys are not ashamed. They're not ashamed that every single person that they meet is doing better than them. They're not ashamed of women mocking them. Now they just kind of recede unto themselves and hold themselves off in the closets. They're not ashamed for the ones who can get on public assistance. They're not ashamed of that, because what it used to be was that as a man, you might have had a couple of bad years. You dust yourself off, you pick yourself up, you build yourself up, and then you move yourself up. But for a lot of fellas today, that's not what's happening. They've been raised by single moms of the lowest gutter kind or most emotionally imbalanced kind. Take your pick. The boys are doing their best imitation of a lazy, low-life female. Productivity is painful to them. They don't want any struggle. Basically, you got males looking for a pedestal. They're looking for somebody to comfort them and put them on a pedestal so that he doesn't have to do anything, just sit there and basically carry on whatever his mother was doing for him. That's basically what they want, is, can I continue what mom was doing for me? And when somebody does say they don't want to do that, or they're not going to go in that direction, then it becomes a problem. So when it comes to making money or something like that and demonstrating your financial competence, which is the number one thing that a man needs to do, is develop financial competence. They're competent at Xbox. They can find all the cheat codes. They can find all the super secret codes. They can go ahead and get all the downloadable content. But when it comes to the real world, they're completely uncompetitive. They are actually afraid of competing. They're not just uncompetitive. They're afraid of it. It hurts their heads. It hurts their bodies. It hurts their psyches. They're completely broken. So at that point, their social circle simply becomes a bunch of other unproductive incels online. So there's nobody there really, demanding anything or castigating them for it. When they get offline, they either are looking at the mama who enabled them, or a bunch of other dudes, or whatever female is letting them stay there until she can do better. And that's it. I guess the only upside to this is that most of them are not procreating. I guess that's the only upside. Most of them are not having children.
Yeah, I get it. Especially to the brother that can't wait to see the woman's cell phone because he ain't had a phone in months, and he's so excited that she pulls up her Instagram. He want to look at his Instagram page. That is just the most tackiest, unbecoming thing I've ever noticed a man do. Want to take my phone just to see his Instagram and then want me to hear songs off the Instagram. Brother, the business, I apologize that you have to cover this, but it is such a sensitive, much needed topic to talk about.
Well, definitely, like I say, I speak about this all the time. I'm not the guy who sits up here and says, okay, let's focus 98% of the damn year on females, because as men, they need a place where somebody kicks them in the ass and says, hey, more is expected. More is demanded. And in the environment right now, it has just been absolutely galling. There's so much grist for the mill and so much intellectual feed being thrown in their feed bags to tell them that they don't have to change or become any better. And so they become a lot like the females. They're looking for some pastor to preach to them, not to preach to them, hey, get up off your ass. They're looking for someone to preach to them to say, the problem is the women want too much. And what you're doing by contrast, what you're doing in conjunction with that, in effect, is telling the fellas they're all right like they are. And the truth of the matter is they're not. I just think that mathematically speaking, we shouldn't have situations like that. When you're talking to a national way, you shouldn't have situations like that. You shouldn't have that.
90 seconds.
I'm almost certain that that's not correct.
It's because, I apologize for speaking.
Go ahead.
My speaker is hard to hear you. Truth be told, listening to your broadcast for over a year and being on a couple of your Zooms and phone calls, my game has went tremendously up. You should see the men, the men that want to get something going with me. I can't believe it.
Well, being competitive, I think the best thing a person can do is be in a competitive environment, because if you're built to compete, now that's the only way you can win. You never saw anybody win and they were not competing. I just don't give aid and comfort, and I certainly don't condone having uncompetitive people. The next generation cannot do better and get better when nobody is competing. So I don't create an environment that makes it comfortable to not compete. Furthermore, the people who do out-compete should get everything. And let me go ahead and explain that. If the man that you are with is more competitive, he should have more than one female. He should have more than one car. He's overproducing. If he's able to produce for 7 or 8 people, yeah, he should have 7 or 8 cars. Like Floyd Mayweather said that if he can feed 4 or 5 households, yeah, he should have more than one woman. Yeah, you're damn right he should. He should have more than one woman, more than one car, more than one house. If he's got the ability to do that and all to upgrade more than one person, more than one household, yeah, he should have that. And if your chick happens to leave, now there's what the guys really don't like. By the way, if your chick happens to come into contact with that and the competitive edge is not with you, there's a reason for that. And yeah, he should pull you broad. He really should. Because you've had every opportunity to do so. You don't make men into better men by lowering the bar. You make men into better men by telling them the environment will be uncompromising and unforgiving. And you will either evolve or you will perish. One or the other. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. And it sounds ruthless. You know what? Because it is. It's life and death. So if we create an environment and create a forum where you've got opportunities and it really shouldn't be a problem, what in the hell is going on? What is going on? Because I'm from a mid-sized city. I'm not from a major city. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm not from New Orleans or Dallas or Houston. I'm not from that. I'm not from that. The other thing is, like I say, you know me, that this isn't the hood rat spot. This isn't the hood rat spot. We don't have that going on. So even the kind of females that we have around here, it's different. Even the kind we have around here, different. This isn't a place for folk to get comfortable and sit back and rest on their laurels and go for the bottom. That's not what we do. But that's offensive to a lot of people. That is offensive. So I'm just going to say this right now. Going forward, you're going to hear more complaining and more damn whining from fellas. When you ask them what are they doing or producing, they're going to tell you, shut up. We don't need to talk about that. We just need to come to grips with the fact that, in the modern era here, the productive men are vastly outnumbered. The productive men are vastly outnumbered. It's because the females are content to fantasize that the degree will give them everything they want. And the fellas are content to look at their cell phones and look at Instagram. They're content to do that. I'm trying to find the people who don't want that. I'm trying to find the people who don't want that. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do tonight right now. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do tonight right now. And this was Eve's idea. By the way, this was Eve's idea. It sounded interesting when we talked about it earlier, but it's Eve's idea. Right now, what I want to do because we're going to be doing this next week. And here's the real thrust of it. The real thing about it here is, in this environment today, think about this for just a few moments. Think about this. You got fellas paying, how much is a plane ticket from Dallas to Brazil? Anybody want to price that? Hell, probably some of you dudes in here, you just got off kayak. How much is a plane ticket from Dallas to Brazil? How much is that? How much does that cost? A plane ticket from Dallas to Brazil right before they run you up out the country. Right before they do that. Sam said 1,200. Kid Gravity said 1,700. Kamikaze said 1,500. I want y'all to think about that for a few moments. Think about that. These are dudes who, it's like gambling. They're so addicted to losing. By the way, now that's how much your plane ticket is. Now, after that, how much is it going to cost you for a hotel, food, travel, and if you need to sit up here and rent one of these chicks while you're there? How much is that going to cost you? How much? Your time should be worth more than your money. That's my point. Your time should be worth more than your money. That's the first thing that you learn as a business owner, is your time is worth more than your money. So in this environment here today, I can understand there's a whole bunch of nonsense going on. I've just done my effort for it. I'm just letting you know right now, it doesn't cost nearly as much. These guys talking about you got to pay for sex. What the hell? If you're married, you're paying for it. What the hell? It doesn't cost nearly this amount. Nearly this amount. That's what I'm saying right now. It's like, hey, it's not just me. I'm not the only one seeing this. It's not just me. There's a lot going on, but it's not just me. You got chicks out here, they all under the age of 30. They don't have kids. They're willing to relocate. They have their own jobs so they can pay tribute. I'm trying to figure out, what else do you need? Unless you're trying to do something illegal, what else are you looking for here? What else do you need? So what I want to do right now, because I just want to see something. I want to see something here. And for the fellas who are already going to be joining us and whatnot, thank you very much. We appreciate that. But what I want to do right now is I want to open an invitation here. During this program right now, there's over 1,700 people watching, about to be 1,800 people. We'll probably be over 2,000 here in a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend an invitation tonight right now. I'll extend one right now. 3 fellas, and Eve is going to sponsor you. Eve, I need my Cash App. I need it. It's your idea. 3 fellas right now here tonight. If you already know the situation is not what it needs to be, if you already know it's not what it needs to be, if you want this Valentine's Day to look different than it is before, if you figure Jason is just having too much of a damn good time out there, if you are saying, hey, Jason, you one of these guys, Jason, where the young females with no kids? Everybody got kids. Okay, dude, I've done the footwork for you. I got over a dozen under the age of 30 and a few dozen over. So 3 guys, there are 3 fellas. I want you to email me tonight. 3 fellas here, if you make over $75,000. 3 fellas tonight. I want you to email me right now during the program. That's just how easy entry is into this. And I'm just one guy. So 3 fellas here tonight. Eve is going to sponsor you for the event. If you make over $75,000, all you got to do is email me. All you have to do is email me. No, we're not doing that. No, Ryan, we're not doing that. Not at all. Not at all. The email address is handlethebusiness@yahoo.com. That's handlethebusiness@yahoo.com. Send me an email. If E's check don't clear the bank, all bets are off. Eve is over here texting me about me putting her out there. It was your idea. It was your idea. In any case, stop texting me. In any case, now she's saying why I gotta say it out loud. Ma'am, okay. But we'll go ahead and take care of that for you here tonight. What I'm saying is there really isn't any excuse. There really isn't. There really is not. Right now, I just think you got a lame epidemic. I think you have a lame epidemic. I think you have an uncompetitive epidemic. I think that's what you got going on. If you really want to be honest about it, I think that's what you got going on. By the way, if you think that's different, Passport Bros or anything else, if you think that's different, the telephone lines are now open. The Zoom is available as well. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Big shout out here in the chat room, the Black Mzungu. He sent me 100,000 Ugandan pesos. Thank you very much for your dedication, sir. I appreciate that. Next time I'm in Uganda, I can go to Red Lobster. Next time I'm in Uganda, I can go to Red Lobster. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Dion Coleman. Thought that was the comedian for a minute. Gotta pay the cost to be the boss. Dudes want champagne cooperation with malt liquor productivity. You damn right. Keep kicking them in the behind until they get right. A little something for the business advice you gave me last year. Glad to hear that's working out for you here. And like I say, when you're around competitive men, when you're around competitive people, things continue to get better. And they should. Things continue to get better. And it should be. Joe Goat Lee, go ahead and do that. Go ahead, Joe. If you're going to do it right now. Don't do it later. If you're going to do it right now. Dudes who ain't said nothing to me in weeks, now all of a sudden they're jumping in the program here. Okay, I got a couple of fellas here in the email already. A couple of fellas in the email here already. Dudes, I'm just going to say it like this right now. I don't know what's going on right now. You don't have to be in the damn NBA. There are females falling out the damn sky right now. They're falling out the sky right now. They cooking, they cleaning, they everything else. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're not doing that for the bare minimum dude. They're not doing that for a bare minimum dude. Some of you fellas need to just be honest with yourselves. You trying to sit up here and get a 5-star chick, and meanwhile you're a 1-star restaurant. No, you need to get something more towards your pay grade. Stop trying to do what your mama's failed at. Your mama's been trying to get her a producer while she's a loose lug nut for decades. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There is no justifiable reason for any man in America who makes more than $50,000 a year to be alone. And there's no justifiable reason for any man, single man in America with no kids who makes more than $75,000 a year to be by himself with no options. There's no excuse for that. I got to lay this where it is. I got to just lay it where it is. I got to just put this on you where it is. Fellas, you should be out doing this tonight. You really should be. Let me go ahead and get here. Sam, are you able to hear me this time? Because you got me echoing.
I should be able to hear you this time. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, we can hear you. We'll make sure you got your setup straight. All right, Sam, what's on your mind?
All right, man. So a little nervous, but watched you for a while. And just to kind of follow up, because this topic is very similar to what we were talking about last time. And you kind of talked about the 50K around your age in your 20s. And I understand that. And that's exactly something I didn't get to expound on, but basically for the guys, I go into a lot of these rooms or these YouTube channels that are like these havens for people who have come together after the Kevin Samuels have kind of given them these talking points. And so pretty much you have these havens of these men who are pretty much on this point of everything you've already talked about. I don't need to go into it. So basically, when I say that about the 20-year-olds, you should always be looking for more skills. If you get to a glass ceiling at a job, you should be looking for a different position. You should be looking for a different job. If you can't get to a different position, you should be looking for a way to get a different trade. You should be looking for skills online. There's many different ways to get your skills up. But my main thing was
you can't get anything up if you don't have the desire. That's the real problem, bro. That's the X factor. If you're okay serving and being subservient to and subordinate to other men, I can't help you if you're okay with that. Now, I can help you if you're not. But if you like, I'm their little sidekick, they kind of smack me up, and you're all right with that, what am I supposed to do with you?
Exactly. And that's kind of what I tell them all the time. Like, you have to want to grow past where you're at. A lot of guys, I know people who were working at call centers and are still at those same call centers when I was in my young 20s. Here I am, 39, and they're still at that same call center. Here I am, and I'm not even in the same city I was. I'm from Dallas. I'm Chef Bay, actually, in the chat. I just can't change my name whenever I get on here. But, so I tell them all the time, I don't know where your balls are at. I don't know where your manhood has went, your whole motivation, and you're sitting here acting like you should be head of household. That's why I say they want to be head of household. They want submission at 50K, but you don't even have the balls to get off your ass after you worked 40 hours to even go past to get even further in your life. And you can't save up enough money at 50K to be able to retire you and the wife that you have. So you're just going to leave her with a lot of misery if you pass either before or even when you do, you know what I'm saying? And even if she does make 50K with you, we already seen if you throw a family in there, it's going to be hard for you to take care of you both all the way for the next 60 or for the next 30, 40 years. And so there's no woman that's going to get with you. They see that you're at the bare minimum of what they can get. And so you got the passport bros going overseas because they feel like their money can triple, but they're not even thinking we're not stupid. We know about all these travel costs. We know about all the things that you're going to have to do. So now a lot of them are talking about going over there and either living or just getting a wife over there and paying for them over there, but never bringing them to the States. So what, you're only going to have sex like what, 5 times a year? That doesn't even seem practical for me.
Even if you live there, here's the issue. The issue is the same thing I've always said. These dudes ain't upgrading anybody. It's not like they're bringing those women better benefits than the females over here we're going to get. You're taking them to a little dive diner. It's not like she's planting her inflated butt cheeks in a BMW 7 Series. I had one old senile liar the other week talking about he got a Rolls Royce in Thailand or something like that. Dude, please. That's the environment that you're dealing with. So it's not like these guys are upgrading anybody, changing anything, improving anything, enhancing anything. They're just hanging out until they get done hanging out. To which I'm saying, well, you could have done that here. What are you doing? You're running over there. So the only explanation I can understand from that is, well, you know what? I'm allowed to do something over here that's illegal back in the States, and the females over here will be okay with it. But they're not competitive males. It's not like this is an enclave of competitive men who are just, just really making it happen. That's not what's going on. And they're not building better men either. When Chinese immigrants come over here, they go to places like Arcadia out there in California, Canal Street in New York. I can go down the list. Y'all know I can. They go there and they start building up. And it's millions and millions of dollars. If these guys wanted me to take them seriously, you'd see that in reverse. They'd have an enclave down there in Brazil. They'd have an enclave in Thailand. After all these decades, they'd have that. All you got is some dusty, raggedy dudes who are delivering the same thing over there they were over here. It's not like they're getting upgraded. I want to be around the fellows who want to upgrade. I want to be around the fellows who want to be able to reward their friends and penalize their enemies. I want to be around the fellows here who want to look to make the landscape better than it's been. But more importantly, I want to be around the fellows who want a better tomorrow than they got today. And when you get to tomorrow, when tomorrow becomes today, then the next tomorrow got to be better. That's what you want to be around. I don't want to be around folk who are comfortable being where they are.
I'm with you on that, boss. All I can say is the same thing, man. I want to be around leaders, and that's why I try to push men to be leaders. I don't mind going into these like YouTube channels and getting beat up on by these weak ass males who were probably AV nerds that have access to videos, and now they could be the main ones on YouTube. But now I think I really love how a lot of truth tellers, a lot of people are trying to come out and call these people out. Just like you just said, people are not building businesses down there. You called the guy out a while back. He was like, oh yeah, me and the Passport Bros, me and I think it was David, we talk about business, and people just throw shit out there just to be throwing it out there. But when you dig into the details, them niggas ain't doing shit. So
we talk about business. That's when I had them call up, that's all it ever was. Well, we have little round tables. It's not a round table we can find online. You're not building anything. It's nothing of consequence. Because if it were, the government over there would probably be running y'all out of there by now. So if they were actually doing something, we'd see the dollar goes a lot further in Brazil than it does in America. Well, I should be seeing about $1 million worth of investment then. Well, take a look at the kind of house you can buy in Thailand and the Philippines. Where would I make here? It'd be with like $1 million here. Okay, then I'll be damned. Then I should see a whole bunch of investment going on if your dollar is that much stronger over there. If you really doing something, you're doing the same thing over there you were over here. But to get off of them, because they're the worst case example, but they're not the only one. We are entering an era right now, and here's where it really comes down to. This is systemic. When you have an uncompetitive male population, then when they are oppressed, which we are by the system, you walk into a courtroom somewhere. Why do you think these fellows are scared to death of alimony, scared to death of child support, scared to death of property? They're scared to death of that. Well, yeah, because this is the result of the previous 6 decades of uncompetitive males who, after World War II, everybody was fat, lazy, and happy. It's peacetime. Everybody can just sit back and live off the economy. Okay, but you made the kids soft. And you made the grandkids even more soft. So nobody's been minding the store except some radical feminists. Now, they've been on the damn war march for the last 6 decades. The males have just been saying, hey, let me get my little old job at General Motors or General Electric and call it a day. But the disaffected females have been on the war path. And they have now rigged the system at every damn level. Literally. So that's what happens when you're overrun with uncompetitive men. That's what happens. Uncompetitive men are not going to get nothing done. And they're going to leave the rest of us defenseless because they're just going to sit there until they get bopped over the head. Well, what if we don't want to get bopped over the head? Then what? I'll let you have the last word.
Man, you said it all. I'll just throw in there, like you said, you have all these men who got these jobs over the years, working at these plants, getting these skills and these.
There's a call here tonight. We appreciate that. And definitely, like I say, fellas, there's no excuse for that. In the chat room, D-Mac, if D-Mac is not calling up, D-Mac needs to be blocked at. So D-Mac needs to give us a call here. Not sure who D-Mac is referring to, but D-Mac need to give us a call. Y'all know if some of the passport haters are upset. Some of the passport haters up. To my man here on CashApp, who's that? B1K. You say you about to break up with your girl. Hey, bruh, I got your replacement on deck. Dude. He said my man B1K says he's getting ready to break up with his girlfriend. I got a spare ready for you. I got your spare ready. Email me. Hit me up. I can't make this any plainer, simpler, easier for you. Hit me up. Hit me up, dude. Okay, it's time to swap her out. Hey, tell her, look here, I'm trading you in for a newer model. Bruh, this is going to be the easiest breakup you ever had in your life. This is going to be the easiest breakup you ever had in your life. My mission was always to create a place that was, the kind of place I wish I could have found when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I don't know what more to tell you, bro. If you breaking up with a bon voyage, sayonara, I got you next up, bro. I got next up. Let me get caller from area code 647. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from area code 647. Put down the pipe. You're on.
From Toronto.
Okay, what's your name again? From Toronto?
Marcus from Toronto.
All right, Marcus from Toronto. What's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Black, I've been a long time follower of yours for at least, I'll probably say 10 years going. But because we were talking earlier about the lames, and because I work in the transportation industry, right? So I see the Indians, the Sikhs, the Filipinos, and even Afghanistan. They've been coming to Toronto in droves. But the thing is, when I look at these guys, because I've worked directly with them, they're lames themselves, but the females that they have, they're accepting them, whether they be like 80 pounds, 100 pounds, like whatever weight they are, like they're accepting them as lames. Because these guys, they don't really have interesting characters or anything special about them. So I'm saying, how comes like when you look at black men, we're the only ones where we have to be beyond exceptional just to take on average females? That's the question I have.
Okay, I mean, but define beyond exceptional.
Like when you really look at it, okay, because me, I like music. I like a really good range of music. And if I'm not really liking like the Drakes or whoever, it's like almost like the music I listen to is lame. Like if I like classical jazz, I'm considered lame with a lot of the black females, for me personally.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. And I need for you to be honest with yourself for just a moment. Now, you live in Toronto, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who do not know, Toronto is blowing the hell up. If you haven't been up to Toronto anytime recently, Toronto is blowing up. It really, really is. It's going through a construction boom, and
big time.
Toronto is really blowing up right now. It's really blowing up. So that's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue. Y'all are not going to have it easy anymore.
No.
You're not going to have it easy anymore. I want you to understand, in a competitive environment, that's going to be a problem. So you have to ask yourself first and foremost, brother, you say that, the guys who are overachieving need to get an average chick. First thing I'm going to ask you, brother, is are you a producer? How productive are you? Because that's a good slogan to throw out there, but you got to be real. Hey, in Toronto's current environment, where do you rate at?
I would say I'm probably maybe about, last time I checked, about maybe a 13%, man. When you think about the income that I make, I'm not like a 1%, but I'm about around 13%. Because when you break down how much I make, I made 119 last year. So that turns out to be around maybe 95 an American.
Okay. Well, that's certainly not bad. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have two with my ex-wife.
Okay, there you go. How old are you?
Me, I am 46.
Okay. It's 46 years old, 2 kids, ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, bro. I mean, I can understand why you consider that to be an issue. You already ventured into the sexual marketplace and you already put all your chips on her. No offense.
Yes, sir.
No disrespect. But you already went to the sexual marketplace and you already put all your chips on her. So if you do that, you got to be ready to pay the cost to be the boss. This chick you were with, I got a couple questions about that. Number one.
Oh, boy.
Was she black?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Number 2.
And I know you're going to probably tell me that she's from the Caribbean.
That's fine. I mean, that's okay. Here's my real thing about, because all of y'all are immigrants up there. Anyway, my point is, though, did she have any children?
If she had children before me?
Yes.
No. I gave her the first 2 kids.
Okay. How old were you two when you got married?
Okay, it was in 2008. It was 15 years ago. So I was 31. Actually, no, 33.
You were 33, and how old was she?
She was 23.
You were 33. She was 23.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had like a 10-year difference.
Okay. Here's the real issue, though, bruh. Today, the advice that I give to fellas today is you shouldn't even be discussing marriage until you're in your late 30s, early 40s, because the females today are a lot more sly, they're a lot more cunning, they're a lot more calculating, and they're coming to the table to get the bag. You need more life experiences. Most females have been through a whole lot more life experiences than men have because they become sexually active a whole lot sooner than the men, and they go through a lot more sexual partners than the men do. Therefore, their breadth of experience is wider. So if you're, I don't recommend that a male try to get married today if he's younger than 38, 39, preferably in your 40s, but I wouldn't recommend it because the females have a huge head start on you. They have a huge head start. In your case here, okay, you say it's been 15 years since then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were 33 at the time, so you're 48 now, you're saying?
No, I'm turning 47 this year. But like, I guess when we met, I was 33. But
you might want to go over that math.
No, when we actually got married.
You might want to go over that math a little bit, brother. I mean, that would be 48 then. So, in any case, you said that make you 32, and that would make
I was
her
married in 2008. Yeah,
that would make you 32 and her 32. I mean, 22. So my real thing is, okay, you're 32 years old. Was she raised by a single parent?
Mm-hmm. If she was raised by a single mother, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, she was. I wasn't.
Okay, but that's the chick you marrying.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna get with a chick raised, you're a 33-year-old dude, and unless you know for a fact that you understand females and female game, you're gambling. So you got a 22-year-old raised by a single mom. You're getting her early, but her mama's had her mitts on her the whole time. And if you're not sizing up the mother and saying, let me see who the mom is, because that's who she's going to be in 10 years. What kind of mother what kind of woman was her mom?
Wasn't too great because I ended up paying for her to come up here, and she didn't even show up to the wedding.
Okay. But I'm talking about her attitude.
Sorry?
I'm talking about her attitude.
Oh, yeah, she had an attitude. She had an attitude on her. Like, there were certain situations where she was fighting with her daughter. Like, she wanted money because we paid for her to get there. Then she wanted to start buying her clothes and stuff. And it became just an emotional argument for, like, my ex-wife where they were bowing back and forth.
Okay, so let me get this clear. Your girlfriend and her mom were sitting up here having roundabouts.
Yes, sir.
And
then it got to the point where
and you married that.
Yes, sir.
But you're talking okay, but here's the issue. Then you're going to tell us, go back to this beginning of your phone call here, because this goes to your judgment. Mm-hmm. Listen to me, fellas. I am never going to sit up here and tell you all about the kind of female that you sleep with. If the chick's got a bad body on her, man, knock yourself out. Do what you do. You grown ass men. If she got a bad body and you just like, hey, Jason, look here. If you saw what I saw, hey, go right ahead. Don't marry him and don't get him pregnant. Make sure that when this finally does hit the wall, because it will, when this finally does crash and burn, because it will, make sure that you can walk away from the wreckage with nothing that still ties you to this person. You had your turn on the train to take a ride. When the ride is over, make sure you can get off with your luggage and leave.
Yes.
As opposed to getting off and now you can't get off the train. You just got to sit here in the wreckage. So that's the whole point I'm making about it. You got to just sit there in the wreckage. There were warning signs all over the place. So at this point for you to say, well, if I'm sitting here in the middle of it and, she's this, that, and the other, and these chicks today, they want to be average chicks with an above average dude. Did you ever think that maybe they want a guy who's got based upon the average, if you represent the average, they want a guy with above average discernment, above average judgment, above average ability to recognize that females play games, but you're the guy who doesn't fall for it. Have you thought that maybe that's the answer?
Yeah, well, that's why I look at the whole dating landscape right now, and for me, I'm not going to get back in it, at least not till my kids are like of age, teenage years.
Okay,
so for me, it's just all
how
about,
old are the kids now?
10, and the next one's going to be 9 actually this week, so they're really close in age. Okay. So I got at least up here with the Canadian laws, I got 9 more years of payments left.
Okay, so are you saying that you don't want to get back into dating until you're done paying child support?
No, till like my kids are at least teenage years, because I just want to
but teenage years is a span of years. So exactly what age are you looking for?
Oh, for me to be, or for them?
I want to go back dating when my kids are in their teenage years. Teenage years is not a number.
Oh, sorry. Well, at least they're 13. I would say 13, 14.
Okay.
Because I'm not going back out there to run into any more women and be creating any more new babies. I'm done with that.
Okay, but here's the real thing. You say you're done with that. It's done with you at this point here, because you're going to be in your 50s.
Yeah.
And it would be different if you were in your 50s with a clean slate, but you will still be a single father.
Yeah, I'll still will have to father my kids.
Right. So, but the average female that you desire isn't a single mom, and is she looking for a single dad? And furthermore, is she looking for a man whose judgment would lead him into this? Those are things you have to take in mind and keep into account. Men who are quote unquote above average, extraordinary income, extraordinary status. Leo DiCaprio, I think, just grabbed his next. He just got a new girlfriend. They're saying 19 years old. Leo be trading them in every year. He's trading them in for a younger and younger model. He better quit. He's already at 19. Leo, stop. This is the break point right here. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble right now, Leo, because right now they're calling him a predator. So what I'm saying though, and he's older than you and me. So my point is, I want you to understand what you're looking at here. When you're talking about guys like that, they exercise different judgment. So when a new female, in your case right here, if a female were talking to you, she's first looking at your kids and your ex-wife, because she knows they got first dibs on everything. And that's not going to stop when your kids are 14 or 15. My concern is that you're going to go back into the sexual marketplace and be the same guy you were before. That's my concern. And with the attitudes being expressed here tonight, there is some mastery that needs to be developed. There's some mastery that needs to come into account. It's not so much that the females are looking for an extraordinary guy. They are looking for a guy who carries himself extraordinarily. Case in point, the number one thing that females are looking for in a man is a leader. I don't mean a man who, quote unquote, will lead her. I mean a man who is looked up to. Go back to my program about how females admire you, that she sees that other people look up to you as a leader, that other people are coming to you as a leader. You're the kind of guy that gets people to gravitate to you because you're a leader. I'm not talking about women. So let me ask you here. You make $120,000 a year. Your job capacity, is that a sheer leadership capacity?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm trying to each year to increase my income by at least 10%, which so far I've been pretty good.
Right. But your employment does not reflect a man who's leading, does it?
Okay.
Well, I'm asking a question. I'm asking you. Does your employment reflect? Does your employment reflect a man who is leading?
I guess I got to be honest. Not necessarily.
Okay, if you have to say not necessarily, then it's not at all.
Okay.
The next thing here is take a look at your life. Are you living a life where you're leading? Are you living a life where you're Mr. Call Me First? Are you living a life where you are the guy that people come to for answers and you already know if that's you? You already know if it is. You might be a decent guy. You might be a nice guy, because here's the problem we run into. Males today want to sit here and compare themselves to the floor, not the ceiling. That's the fallacy that females fall for today. They take a look at the raggediest, most outrageous looking female and say, well, I'm better than her. Yeah, the problem is you're only a little bit better. As men, fellas tend to do the same thing. Well, I'm in jail and I'm not a degenerate, so I should be winning. I should get to run the yard. And it doesn't work that way, because females are doing the same thing you're doing. They're looking at the ceiling of men, not the floor. And you have to start really being realistic, engaging. Well, how much above the floor are you? Sure, you're not incarcerated, but if you're no more intelligent, no more of a leader, and your resources are all tied up, you might as well be. And it's hard to accept that, because you're like, well, I'm not incarcerated. But in reality, yeah, your social situation might reflect that you are. So that can be a hard thing for fellas to come to grips with, and really have a, heart-to-heart moment with themselves to say, am I really doing as well as, am I really as beneficial as I think I am? Is that really who I am? You might come up with an answer that might surprise you. Just take a look at the results. Oh, yeah. One more thing. About that ex-wife of yours. What's she doing? How long you two been divorced?
It's been, because we separated first and we tried the whole foolishness living separated but living together. So it's been literally officially 3 years now, like since 2020.
Okay, so you two were married for 12 years?
No, it was married for 8, 4 separated but living together, and now
okay, so you two got
3.
Slow down, stop, brake pedal. Let me make sure of something here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You said you met her 15 years ago, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I met this woman 15 years ago. Got it. Then you said that you two have been married for 8 years, correct? Or you were married for 8 years altogether?
Yeah, legally,
okay.
Yeah.
But you've been divorced now for 3 years.
No. We tried the whole. It was suggested.
Let's not make it overly.
So there's 4 years in between.
Let's not make it overly complicated. Let's not do that. These are simple questions here. You were married. You said that you two were married for 8 years. I'm talking about until you were legally divorced.
Yeah, it's been 3 years now, since 2000, because we got the whole divorce thing done during COVID.
Okay, that was 2020, sir, not 2000.
Yeah, 2020. So I guess I'm counting 2023. So I guess it's 2 years then.
Okay, so you're saying that you were married. Okay, but you're saying that you were married for 8 years before that.
Yeah, I guess you know what, you might as well say it's 12 years then.
Okay.
Because we separated for 4.
Sir,
we didn't get legally married.
Let me be very, very clear with you right here. This kind of stuff that you're doing on the phone right now, this is the kind of thing females don't like either. I don't like it and they don't like it. You're being asked the same question and we're getting different answers every time we talk to you. This is not how a leader moves. So I just want you to be very, very aware. You're being asked the same question over and over again and you're giving different answers each time. This type of indecisiveness and lack of competence, this is what a female is going to measure, man. This is a very simple question. What year were you legally married?
2008.
What year were you legally divorced?
2020.
Okay, that's 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been divorced now for 2 years beyond that. So that would be 14 years altogether. How old is your oldest child?
10.
Okay. So for the most part here, it looks like y'all did that the correct way, although it looks like you started having children within 2 years of being married.
Yeah.
Okay. Lesson learned in that regard, I would hope. Number one, you're not.
Oh yeah, big time. That's why,
but
big time lesson learned.
Yeah, but here's the issue: no due respect. Your leadership and competence is not up to code, even going on 50. So I can see a very young, slick, savvy chick taking advantage of you even to this day. It'll be very easy. You're not very sure about things. Even something as simple as when you get married and when you get divorced. I can see a chick running rings around you emotionally. I can see a chick running hustle on you emotionally. So what I'm saying is that's not attractive to females when they see that. So, and you'll be chalking it up to, you got to be an extraordinary guy because you might consider competence to be extraordinary. But in reality, what I'm telling you is females are going to pick up on this immediately. Just like I picked up on it immediately. Mm-hmm. The difference is I don't want to date you. The females are going to be a lot more critical. And once she sees that's how you move mentally and emotionally and intellectually, she's going to make decisions. And then you're going to be like, well, they want a guy who's way up there. It's like, no, it's just above where you are. So that's going to be something. If you're going to try to go back out there, I would suggest you work on that. You don't need to be getting married anymore. You don't need to be having any more kids because I'm afraid they're going to get over on you. Toronto is experiencing a tremendous amount of economic activity and development in a very short amount of time. And what that means is that everybody up there is stepping their game up, especially the single females. The single females are looking to live that Instagram life.
Yep.
By any means necessary. So with that, and it's getting more competitive by the day to get that. So with that being the case, when they see you, dude, they see food at best. But then again, you don't have a lot to offer in that regard. So you get back out there, bro, they're going to be looking, let me just go ahead and run his pockets real quick and keep it moving. So you're going to have to start operating differently than you are. But it's not so much that the females want, quote, so much. It's that you need to step your game up so you realize what you're really doing here. But all this, you only have to be asked something one or two times and that should be it. That type of indecisiveness, that's what makes a female say, oh, let me take him. By the way, you say you're paying child support for the kids. What about the wife?
No. She didn't qualify for alimony.
Okay, why not?
Because I was trying to tell you, because we were in a separated but living together situation, I was paying everything still. So they considered she was supposed to be paying at least 30%. So our lawyers both agreed that I don't have to pay alimony for those 4 years.
Okay, so you're saying that they only wanted you to pay 4 years of alimony originally?
No, she would have qualified for 4 years, but since during the 4 years,
that's what I just said. I just said, so they wanted you to pay 4 years of alimony. No, what they said was...
Sorry, the phone was breaking up.
Yes, sir. So she was legally... all they were asking for from you was 4 years. 4 years of alimony.
Yeah.
That's what they were asking for.
Yeah.
YouTube is messing with the signal right now, everybody, so just calm down. But you should be back on. Everybody, you should be back on here. Y'all know YouTube hates it when we talk about this because Rich Cooper and friends over there are always talking about Canada being confiscatory and you're always going to get screwed and stuff. And you're not a rich dude, so you didn't really get screwed about that. So, like I say, a lot of these fellas are really handing out war stories of things they don't really understand. So I'm glad to hear that, it could have been a lot worse. But then again, brother, it also could have been a lot better. That chick had red flags all over her. I don't know what she looked like. I'm just going to assume she wasn't, a troll. But the bottom line is there were red flags before you got started. There were red flags all over that, but you charged into it anyway. And what I'm saying is that's judgment. So when you're looking for, don't be upset when females start saying, I want somebody with a little bit better judgment. Your job is to get better judgment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I say, that's one of the things we want to keep in mind here. That's one of the things we want to keep in mind. I had a few fellas, they've sent me some messages up here. Is that MJ, if that's you, send me an email. If that was you on there. All right, Goat Lee, if that's you, send me an email, bro. Send me an email. We'll get you fixed up. Send me an email. We'll get you fixed up. I got to the fellas here who sent me emails that E is going to sponsor y'all. She over there sweating now. She's going to bake a lot more cookies. But for the fellas who are sitting over there, who sent me the emails, I'm going to get in touch with you here as soon as we get off the program. I'm going to be in touch with you. Let me get caller from area code 914. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good night, Jason. This is Michael. I'm a truck. I'm on the road. I'm calling from New York. I'm on the road right now in Nebraska.
All right, where in New York are you from?
I just had, the Bronx, New York, sir.
All right, what's
Bronx,
on your mind?
I've listened to you. I've been listening to you for like probably 6 years now. And my honest opinion, and I also have a question after I voice my opinion. My honest opinion is, brother, I think they lie to these guys. The people are lying to them. They're not being truthful to them. So they don't know. There's a lot of stuff they don't know because they're not listening to people like you or Professor Black Truth or Tariq Nasheed. There's another guy named Tariq Nasheed. They're not listening to people like that. So they get lost and people are lying to them. Like, I learned a lot from you about relationship and stuff like that. And every 36 months, you got to double your income and stuff like that. So I've learned a lot in relationship. But that's just my honest opinion. I think people are lying to them, and people are not being truthful to them. And
Okay,
so
well, let me find out here. What exactly do you think that people are lying to them about specifically?
Well, I think they're telling them, oh, the female in America is no good, and you're going to get better opportunity somewhere else. And I think a lot of these guys are very naive, and they believe that. They don't understand, like you say, you got to work on yourself. You got to improve yourself and stuff like that. I believe that's the problem, and then they're very gullible, so they believe that stuff.
I think you make a good point, actually. But consider this a different way here now. We are, 15 years since the first iPhone came out? Think about that for a few moments, folks. I think we're about 15 years out, 15 to 14 at the most here, since the first iPhone came out. Do you all understand what that means? So internet dating kicked off as a thing in the late 90s. It's coming to its maturity in the last 10 years. And you've had the iPhone and smartphones now going on 15 years. So you do understand, for the children who were 5 years old when the iPhone came out, they weren't even old enough to be able to get one or own one, but they've got one since then. Do you realize they've spent their entire lives, especially the ones 10 years old when it came out? Man, they're now 20 or 25 years old, depending on how you want to run that math. If they were 5 or 10 years old at the time, they're 20, 25 years old now. Spent their lives looking at a screen. Spent their lives interacting with the world through a cell phone. Spent their lives thinking that you introduce yourself to people in a DM. Not at school, not in the real world, none of that. None of that at all. This is where their skill sets come from in dealing with other people. You and me had to meet people in the real world. We had to deal with rejection. And by rejection, I'm not just talking about when they say something to you. I'm talking about nonverbal. Like when you're talking to a chick and she ain't even looking at you, you got to deal, or you're trying to get their attention. They don't even look your way. They don't have to deal with that. When you have a DM, do you realize how that insulates you? When all you do is communicate with people by private message and direct message, you are completely insulated. She's either going to answer or she's not. Generally speaking, she's either going to say yes or say no. And then, of course, you all know about the carpet bombers. These guys who sit up here and send out 20, 30 DMs a day. These vultures. These scavengers. Now, you and me couldn't do that when we were kids. We couldn't do that as young men. We couldn't do that as teenagers. We had to actually hone our skills. And we had to actually learn how to, now here's the real secret, how to overcome rejection. either by demonstrating to her that you were her best option, even if she didn't think so, or by charging her to the game and moving on. But you learned how to get better at it. These young men don't learn that today. So you actually make a very good point. That's why I'm telling people they're not just socially awkward. You all notice I've changed out that word, not just socially awkward, socially inept. They don't, awkward means they got some tools, they're just misusing them. Inept, they don't know what they're doing. They have no clue what they're doing. None. And now they've just been flopped out here in the world like a dead fish with no real idea what to do, how to interact, where to start. None. Don't know what to do at all. So the rage comes in and they look for internet gurus and they go read Rollo Tomasi's books, and then they just come out just as confused as when they walked in. And what you're noticing now is, yeah, we've seen the progression. They're now going into their 40s and 50s with no elevation and no change in results. Their 40s or their 50s now. You know what that means? That they screw around and now they're going to become parents who are going to tell their sons and pass on the same inept incompetence tools. Only now it'll be magnified. Now you got a father who spent his life. See, when you and I were kids, you couldn't get pornography unless you went to one of the dirty stores. Today, pornography is one Google click away. Hardcore, triple X rated. An endless stream of it. An endless avalanche of it. And Instagram ain't much better. Never ending. You can literally sit there and watch it all day, every day, pretty much probably for the remainder of your life. There's just so much of it now. No wonder they don't have those tools. I've literally got grown men telling me they would rather watch an event. I'm sitting up here showing them the females and whatnot. I mean, I've really gone above and beyond because I'm like, hey, you know, let me go a little bit further with some of you guys here. Let me show you some of the folks who will be joining us. And they're like, yeah, can I just watch? Can I just watch? That's what happens after 2-3 decades of being socially inept. They literally are becoming sexually dysfunctional. When you start fetishizing like this, that it's sexually dysfunctional, not just socially, sexually dysfunctional. I can't operate with a flesh and blood female. Think about it for a female. For those of you who remember, there was an old movie called Cherry 2000. Back in the 80s. Cherry 2000. We're here. We don't even have the androids yet. We didn't even make it that far along. We didn't get to the robot phase. They were just happy with the computer screen. Because now when those tools are broken and you never develop them, you never develop those interpersonal communication muscles. You're like my previous caller, and like I say, the only thing I didn't get to ask him, I should have asked him, did he introduce himself to his wife, or did his wife introduce herself to him? He's 33, she's 22. He should be in the driver's seat and in the lead, and that wasn't the case. And too many of these fellas don't even know where to start. So you actually made a very good point. They've been misled, and somebody is promising them that the problem's not you. The problem is everyone else. The problem is all of them. And then we talk to you for a few moments, and this is a hard thing for these guys to accept, brother. What if you really are a lame? No. What if you really are just a lame? What if the females are right? Now what?
Yeah.
I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I learned a lot. I learned a lot listening to you. I was going to ask another question, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
I heard with the other caller you said about a female running your pockets and stuff like that. I don't have a lot of experience like dating and stuff. You know, what do you look for? Like, is there stuff you have to look for to make sure they? Like, is there stuff you're looking for so they don't run your pockets? Like,
okay, let's go ahead and go over that real quick here. Fellas, you got to get indoctrinated to the new rules. How old are you, brother?
Me, I'm 48.
Okay. Fellas, understand the landscape and the environment has changed. You do not have females who are like your grandmama, in some of your cases, your mothers anymore. Those chicks are gone. Welcome to the new world. You need to adapt or perish. The situation is just that simple. You are not going to find women like your grandmother because the environment is not like your grandmother's anymore. You are not going to be able to come to the females the way that your father and your grandfather did because this is not the environment that your father and your grandfather inhabited. Case in point, you from the Bronx, which is really the last affordable place in New York City. And that's saying a lot when you take a look at the prices of things in the Bronx. So what I'm saying to you is take a look at the house that your father and your grandfather bought that was good enough for your mom or your grandmother. When you compare that to modern housing, there's no comparison in most cases. In most cases, there's no comparison. So the environment has changed. The expectations have changed. The landscape has changed. It's all different now. And you can't move the way your dad and your granddad moved and get the same results. When you got a lot of females out here who the government will give them a $300,000 loan on 3% interest. I mean, for 3% down. Because now she's telling herself, I'm competing with you. And then she digs herself under a bunch of debt and realizes she can't compete. But by then it's too late. So as a man, first and foremost, you got to be clear about that. The rules have changed. The rules have changed. So first thing I want to tell you fellas here is you're biologically speaking, you are wired to quote unquote take care of a female, provide and protect for a female. Fellas, most females you meet are still going to try to be like their mothers and their grandmothers. They want to be old fashioned. They talk modern, but they move old fashioned. New rules. A kept woman is a young woman's game. That's not a new rule. That's always been the rule. Y'all need to start tattooing that on your foreheads and your forearms. A kept woman is a young woman's game. Jason, how young is young? 21 and younger. If she's over 22, if she's over 21, if she's entered the workforce already and been throwing elbows, that's it. She's tainted. She can't be a kept woman. You can't turn that into you can try to turn that into a stay-at-home mom. Good luck. A stay-at-home wife. Now, a stay-at-home mom is a slightly different thing, but stay-at-home wife, forget that. That's a young woman's game. Trying to turn her into a trophy wife, a pedestal, that's a young woman's game. Once she enters the workforce, her entire mindset is going to change. When she cashes that first paycheck for herself, she is now going to be comparing you not to other men, but to her employer. Let me say that again. The first time a female cashes a check on her own, she will now be comparing you as her man, not to other men, but to her employer. That's what you guys don't understand. She's not comparing. They want extravagant men. They want extraordinary men. Well, yeah, she's comparing you to her job. So you got to be able to do better than Walmart, Target, AT&T, Verizon. She's not, and you're like, wow, they just want so much. Yeah, because she's not comparing you to other men. She's comparing you to that job. And she's saying, can you replace this? Now, a female 21 years or younger, for the most part, they haven't had those kind of experiences to be able to go off and do that. And so they're not comparing you to a job just yet. But to the ones who've gotten out there and thrown elbows, dude, she'll be sitting up here working at damn me Five Guys or Home Depot and comparing you to that. So you guys got to understand where the disconnect comes from. So first and foremost, being a kept woman is a young woman's game. If she has entered the workforce, forget about it. You're not going to be able to reform that. From this day forward, she will compare you to her job. Next order of business is, fellas, what was competitive for your parents is not. What was competitive for your father is not. That is not competitive anymore. Hasn't been for some time. You cannot be an entry-level dude. You just can't. It's not going to work. So throw away the idea that where work for dad and granddad is going to work for you. It will not. Divorce that idea. The sooner you get over that, the better you'll be. The next thing is that you do not have to compete against Jay-Z and the rich and famous out there. That's not your competition. Your competition is the last 2 men she was with. This kind of conjoins 2 points. Your competition is the last 2 men she was with. You take a look at them. All you got to do is do better than them. That's all you have to do to upgrade them. You take a look at that. Anything else, anything beyond that is negotiation. She's trying to negotiate a much higher price, even though she hasn't been there. Fellas need to learn when to get up and walk the hell away from the table. Which brings me to my next. Well, that brings me to my next point. Most fellas today are thirsty as hell. They come in the door famished. Well, slow down. They come in the door famished, dehydrated, and the females can sniff the wretched stench of desperation all over you. She knows you're not going to get up and walk away from the table, so she knows all I got to do is just sit here and keep asking, and eventually you're going to give in. So what a male needs to do is make it clear through his accomplishments, and through his character that he's got options. But because when you do that, here's the amazing thing about it. When you do that, you don't actually have to unload your wallet. She's unloading hers, because now you have done what I said. You're not chasing females. You're attracting them. When you attract a female, she starts doing the one thing you didn't expect. She starts competing to be with you. When you make it very crystal clear that you have value, when you make it very crystal clear that compared to other males, you have an extraordinary trait to you, women recognize that immediately, and then they will start moving towards you. I didn't say they're going to jump up in your lap, but they're going to start moving towards you, whereas before they were inert and would not move. Most males, however, are inept and incapable of demonstrating or illustrating that they have value, that there's anything special about him. He doesn't have mastery of the language. He doesn't have mastery of his job. He doesn't have mastery of his income. He doesn't have mastery of the way he looks. A woman's looking to see, do you have mastery of something? Show me that you excel at something. And when a female determines that you don't actually know how to excel, now she's going to be like, hey, let me run them pockets. Do you understand where running the pockets comes from? Fellas, running the pockets comes from the same thing for females that it comes from for males. When it comes to sex, a woman wants to know if this is going to be a waste of her time. And what they don't tell you is that it takes her about a minute or two of talking to you before she realizes, you ain't really going anywhere. You don't have anything. Let me run them pockets. Oh, you're not an alpha. You're not a leader. Let me run them pockets. Oh, you're a beta. You're a simp. Let me run them pockets. Because the man himself doesn't have the value. So she's like, well, you're a lame, but your money is an insurance policy against me wasting my time. Same thing that's how males do with females. As long as she got a bad body, it doesn't matter if she's a scholar, intelligent, level-headed, biggest dumbass bimbo hood rat you ever met. She got a bad body. It's like, well, the sex, at least she's good for one thing. That's an insurance policy against me wasting my time. At least I know that there's a floor to how much I'm going to lose. It's not going to be a total loss. Take a look at that body on her. It's not going to be a total loss. So this is my insurance policy. I'm going to get something for standing here. Females do the same thing. They just don't do it for sex. They do it for money. So if she sees you don't have much beyond that, let me run them pockets. So the real thing is the fellas are doing this the wrong way. They're not demonstrating mastery of something. The fellas who are most worried about that are guys who are like the passport bros. They don't really demonstrate mastery of anything. And since there's nothing to master and you haven't demonstrated it through your actions, the females go into survival mode. Let me run them pockets. That's her way of that patting you down. When they start, emotionally and mentally and verbally patting you down, it's like she's letting you know, I don't think there's much to you. So you failed at the competency test of demonstrating that you've got vision. A woman can see when she's dealing with a man who has no vision. Just understand, when you express to a female that you have no vision, she starts the pat down. She starts the pat down, and it's only sensible. So that's the last thing I would tell you guys. When you have a mission in life and a mission in this world, that protects you against that. When a female is not the most important thing to you, your mission in life is the most important thing to you, and females are attracted to you because they found a man on a mission. He has something more important than her, and now she has to compete to be with him because he's found something more important than her, which is what she was always looking for. She wants a man on a mission so she can come along for the ride. She is not looking to be on the mission with you. She wants to know you're on a mission and she comes along for the ride. When she sees that's you, now things are different. Now she competes to get a seat, to get in the passenger seat. That's what it becomes. She's not competing to pat your pockets down because you see, she understands what's in his pockets. That's just scratching the tip of the iceberg. His destination. Now that's where the bag is. Case in point, Dr. Dre's wife, Nicole. Miss Chalet and the rest of them were little scummy hood rats. They were patting pockets down. Let me get a baby. Nicole was a lawyer. She was like, them hoes don't understand. She talked to him long enough to realize Dre is really booed up with Jimmy Iovine to the point that he said, even if you don't trust Dre's vision, Dre trusts Jimmy Iovine's. And she understood Dre has not peaked yet. And sure enough, she stuck around till Jimmy Iovine struck that deal with Apple on Dre's name for Beats. Here comes a couple $2 billion. And that's when she said, now I can start heading for the exits. Now I can start heading for the exits. Now I can do it. But that's because she understood it. Most people don't. And if you don't, then the females are going to get over on you. So if you take it in those steps there, just recognize the old days are gone. You have to invest in yourself. You can't move like your mom and your dad or your dad and your granddad did. You have got to be on your purpose. No, no trophy wives, no kept women. She has to compete for you, but you have to be a man who is worth competing for, which means you're always looking at her and anybody else around you. That's why I say double your income every 2 to 3 years. You're constantly being competitive. 99% of the population is not going to do that. 99% of the population does not double its income every 2 to 3 years. They just don't. Those 2 flops alone will keep you ahead of 99% of the population. How the hell could you possibly lose? How the hell could you lose? You won't. Especially if she comes to you and she's talking to you and you're making it very clear you got a mission and whatnot. Yeah, you want a woman, but the woman's not essential to the mission. When she sees that, that's it. There is no pat down. Jason, how do you keep him from going after your pockets? By presenting your mission and your accomplishments. I've never told you all present with your wallet. I've never said when you get with a female, throw the wallet open. I said, present with your accomplishments. Kevin told him for years, he said, present with your accomplishments and then said your wallet. I'm like, no, your wallet is only one measure of that. That's just one measure. But you need to present with your accomplishments. Once they can see you are the table, at that point, it's like, get your hands out of my pockets. Yeah, if there will be benefits given, I'll be the one who decides that. Not you. So y'all got to learn how to say no. But when dudes are thirsty, they got to lead with their wallet. When a fella is thirsty, desperate, doesn't have options, that fella's got to lead with his wallet. And she knows if I sit here long enough, he's going to have to resort to his wallet. He doesn't have anything else. So have a mission. Recognize where a woman falls in the process and hierarchy of your life in your mission. Do that and she sees you are competent. Now she's going to compete for you because she wants to upgrade her position with you in your mission. The rest falls in place. It falls in place. So that's the long explanation of it. You do that, you're not going to have a bunch of problems. The caller from Toronto who called me earlier. His life was not on a mission. He was desperate as he could be. Red flags all over the damn place. He was still demanding to be with her. Regardless of that, he didn't make her compete. Mama's all in the way, and she ain't chipping him off. Disaster will ensue. Thank you very much for giving us a call. He's taking notes. Let me get caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. My name is Azu from Washington, D.C. How are you doing today?
Azu from Washington. What's on your mind?
Not much. I just wanted to confirm what you're saying about there being a shortage of competent men, especially competent black men. I'm currently a PhD. I work in finance, make about $140,000 a year. And there are women that have men, husbands, boyfriends, situationships that are constantly approaching me. Granted, I do work out. I'm relatively attractive. You know, I handle my business, but I think there is a shortage of competent black men out here. And so women are now trying to, you know, compete on whatever level that they're at. So just confirming what you're saying.
Well, look, I mean, it's not common. That's the problem. It's not common. Competitive men are not common. Getting a PhD and hopefully in something that's useful, it's not common. And what happens is most females cash in their chips too damn early. They cashed them in. Not that they cashed them in early. They cashed them in early with the wrong person because she cashed them in for wrong reasons. In the environment we're in today, typically what happens is the females sit up here and say, well, don't worry. He doesn't have to have his money right. I'll take care of that. I just need somebody who will take care of my busted emotional ego from living all these years with my mama. That's what tends to happen.
Right. And absolutely. And I also think that, too, you know, I only date black women, and I think, too, our sisters don't know how to attach themselves to, like, productive black men when they're in process.
They haven't seen an example.
That's one thing that
It's one thing if you were raised in a home where you saw they haven't seen an example. Remember, back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, when we had black communities and whatnot before the freeways destroyed them and the federal government came in and broke it up with subsidizing for social welfare, you lived next door to the doctors. You live next door to the barbers. You live next door to the accountants, the lawyers. You live next door to the professionals. You live next door to them. So you lived in a neighborhood with the professionals. Next thing you know, developing the suburbs, white flight and everything else and destroying those things, the black professionals were like, well, let me go on another side of town. So next thing you know, the kids don't have it in the home anymore. Thank you, Section 8. Food stamps, welfare, and of course, feminist ideology among black women. Got to call it for what it is. And they didn't have it in the neighborhood either because the professionals have moved out now. They've gone to the white side of town because they don't want to be among their people. They want to be among their income bracket. They don't want to be among their people. They want to be among their income strata. So once that gets kicked off, you know, the girls haven't actually seen it in action. So she knows she's supposed to be looking for something. Biology tells her that, but she was never taught what to look for.
Absolutely. And I think these women, too, still don't understand what men at our level are looking for. Like, you know, women, they can compete on looks, but it's those intangible things. Like, can you cook? Are you peaceful? You know, do you take care of yourself? Are you pleasant to be around? It's those intangibles, and that a lot of women disqualify themselves early on in the process. Though they may look good, you know, they may have their bodies together, but it's those other aspects that, you know, they're not trained to be with men like us. And so, you know, we are still inundated not only with, you know, requests from our own women, but from other women in outside groups that are willing to do those things. You know, so it gets very difficult at times to try to find that needle in a haystack black woman that has not only the physical, but also the intangibles that you need in a woman to help you build and maintain what you have. So, like I said, you're absolutely correct. And like I said, I do catch your show a lot. I've been kind of busy traveling for work and everything, but I'm going to try to catch up on the last few shows. But yeah, man, it's always great to hear you spitting his wisdom to him. And like I said, you're absolutely correct for sure.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Shout out here to everybody who's contributed to tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Condominia, thank you very much here. You really appreciate the game and insight. We appreciate giving it to you here. All right, definitely here. And Michael L., you need to give us a call. Let me get caller from area code 949. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Ruben, calling from Memphis, and I just wanted to thank you because I actually started listening to your content about like 6 months ago. So I'm 22, and I kind of came out of college feeling lost, kind of with like no direction whatsoever. It's kind of like, oh, here's this grand idea. We're going to push you in this direction. And now that once I finally got out and I was like in the real world, I realized, everything that I was told was not true. So I got into this really weird mind state of trying to figure out what's going on until I stumbled across your content. And it kind of gave me a voice, or not really a voice, it gave me more of a vocabulary to voice what I've been feeling subconsciously. Like, I really enjoy how you break it down, and you also apply it to real life examples, because you can talk about something and I'll listen to it and think of a real life example in my life. Like, I'll go back and think like, oh, this is why this happened because of X, Y, and Z. And I just wanted to thank you for helping us, these guys my age and my generation, because I don't know if you guys also noticed, my generation's kind of fucked. Just off rip. But it also helps me understand what my elders are doing. Like you guys are telling your stories. And
well,
you guys are kind of like
here's a better question here. A better question is, why is it your dad didn't do that? Why is it your mom didn't do that?
So the reason why my dad just recently started to do it, because he was working his entire life. So my dad was pretty high up in the corporate ladder, and he spent so much time just working and providing for the family that he didn't really have time to, actually like develop a bond until I turned about 18.
Yeah, you see, and this is some of that horse crapping garbage that got peddled. You heard it peddled from Nick Cannon. I gotta call it for what it is, Nick. I gotta call it for what it is. Tough love, my dude, but I gotta call it for what it is. Nick Cannon, Akon with his garbage, the late Kevin Samuels, talking about, how men need to be working and stuff. Yes, a man needs to be productive, but understand something. This child is your legacy. This child is your legacy. Your son is your legacy. You ain't never gonna have so many hours you gotta work that you leave your legacy unattended to. What the hell you working for? What are you working to do if your legacy has been abandoned at home? Your legacy is sitting there at the house and it's been abandoned. You're going to leave it all up to the mom? Well, she might as well be a single parent. So you got to understand, fellas who don't really care what happens to their kids, they sit up here and say things like that or do things like that. Your father was supposed to be getting into an economically advantageous position so that he could sit on the throne as king, but what the king does is prepare his son to take the throne. That's supposed to be the next order of business. I built this. I'm straight. I'm set. I've learned all these things that life has to give me. I've acquired all this Machiavellian knowledge and whatnot. I've made it to this point. Now it is time to prepare for the succession. And instead, he's just sitting out there doing what he do, and the kid's sitting at home getting beta-ized, and mom is like, okay, dad competed to get me, or I competed to get him, but nobody is teaching the son to get his competitive chops. So when he walks into the world, amazingly enough, he's meeting females who are more competitive than he is. Ironically enough, you're meeting the females, they're looking for a competitive man, but amazing, they'll be more competitive than you are. Next thing you know, it's game over. It's game over. Let me tell y'all something. A struggling female is a lot more hungry and competitive than a coddled son. Y'all need to understand that. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, we can go down the list. A struggling female develops a lot more competitive bones than a coddled son. At that point, you just food. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, look, I appreciate the tough love because I kind of need it. It made me realize it's like, okay, I need to find something that I'm good at. I need to take charge of my own life and be competitive and then light a fire under my own ass. So, like, during the 6 months of me listening to your content and several other people, I had to take a minute to think and be like, okay, what do I like to do? What is my end goal? What is my goal for 3 to 6 months? What is my goal for a year to 2 years? And what is my 5-year goal? And to put life in that kind of perspective, it made it a lot easier. I realized I was good with technology. I built my own computer. So I was like, you know what? I might as well go ahead and start studying for my CompTIA A+. Been doing that. I'm planning on taking the test in March, actually. So I can go ahead and get certified and actually get into a
I definitely want to hear that.
Career path.
Now, if that's going to be in March, I definitely want you to give me a call back. Then I would like to hear how that goes.
Yes, most definitely.
Very, very important.
Again, I just wanted to appreciate.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 626. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is L, calling out of LA.
L out of LA. Long time no hear. What's on your mind, brother?
Not too much. I was sharing a little bit of a few experiences, not necessarily getting too much into detail, and I was told to call in. Now, I could see if I was, flossing on folks. I wasn't even getting into detail, none of that. I'm just sharing my literal life experience.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was you, L, but like I say, definitely, I was reading what you were saying there in the chat. So certainly for your literal life experience, bottom line is though, certainly fellas can't give away too much. You can't give away too much. You got to have a plan. You got to have an idea.
I wasn't trying to get candid or nothing like that.
Well, I mean, you got to have a plan, but I mean, no, it's important there because, that's definitely the kind of thing you want to be able to explain about that. Because the devil is in the details, okay? The devil is in the details. There's so much misunderstanding out here that we got to make sure we check the paperwork on stuff.
Oh.
There's so much misunderstanding. The nuances there's too much. There's devils in the detail. There's too much. Y'all, I know L's been with me for years and years and years, so I don't know why he's using that different name in the chat room. He's
my fault.
He's hiding from
the
child.
I didn't take into account.
He's hiding from the child support people.
A misunderstanding.
L is hiding from the child support people again, so I don't know what's going on. But but like I say, definitely it's just one of those things where, it's because you were saying there before, you understand they'll cheat anyway. What about Mr. Biggs? And you know how many times a chick married a millionaire and lay down with me. Well, I mean, it
wasn't.
Chicks
it ain't like 1,000 times. It was just a handful of times. I just got lucky. I ain't saying I'm the best cat on earth. I just got lucky.
I don't know.
That's all that is.
If it happens 3 or 4 times, that's not luck. That's skill. But what I will say is it's also it's also not typical. Let's just be very, very clear. Yeah, you can pull out a story of an attorney. I'm going to say something tonight folks ain't going to like. You can pull out a story of an attorney somewhere who got caught up with some dusty dude. That's understandable. The part that's shameful is the fact that she has gone through a lot more work and effort to get her law credentials than that fella did to get her draws. That's the problem. It's not that she's a high income earner. As I pointed out during my last program, you all know, I ain't trying to set nobody's business out there, but I mean, it's already out there. I've had, 3 female attorneys on my program so far. All of them over the age of 40. All of them still dealing with their student loan debt. Driving luxury cars, but their student loan debt isn't even paid off by now. The average black female attorney would probably have more take-it-home pay if she filled out an application at Ticketmaster than what she did to go to law school. So there's this misconception about being this affluent female because she's a lawyer, when in reality, it's really not like that. So yeah, Pookie Bill can go ahead and do that because the other attorneys, I mean, let me tell y'all something right now. And I think even fellas like lead attorney will bear me witness that male attorneys don't really like to fool with female attorneys. They really don't,
I
because
already knew that.
a
Lee
male,
said that. Lee said that before.
if he's got any bones about him in the business, I've got several lawyers I know. Male attorneys don't like to look. I've hired several female attorneys. Some of them I hired because I knew what they were doing. Okay, I hired them because they knew what they were doing. I also hired them because they looked good in them outfits they were in. Because if I'm going to walk into court, I don't need to look like a fool. I don't need to look like a convict if I'm walking into court. So you would swear that was my wife and not my attorney. Okay, that's great and everything, but my point is, but I knew what their finances were. Because I mean, that's what I do. I know what kind of money you're making. So if a female attorney is balling out like that, we gon' know. And in the law profession, if she's a female attorney who's charging high rates and knocking down big accounts and, got big clients and making big money, the men in her profession, in her city, in her state gonna know who she is. And that the bottom line is it's very rare. So if you're a female attorney who's knocking down money, the male attorneys know you that chick, and most of them are not. So male attorneys don't really fool with female attorneys because they know, hey, I'm doing a lot better than you are. That's just it. I'm doing a lot better. It's going to be hard to get that. So the female attorneys, that you would think they'd be dating other attorneys, but the other attorneys are like, I'm not trying to saddle your debt. And I don't want to go to dinner. I don't want to go to dinner with somebody who wants to argue, because now she got her little degree or got her little credentials, and now she wants to just argue with you. She'll argue with another attorney. She won't argue with Pookie. She'll be like, oh, he's too dumb. He doesn't know anything about that. So seriously though, amazingly enough, female attorneys, I've watched my female attorneys enough. They'll argue with a man who's as smart as them, but they won't argue with Pookie, Mike, Ray, Lil Slug. They won't argue with him.
No, it's a good chance things could go left, and they really don't want that.
Well, no. Regardless, even putting that to the side, she just knows that if she can't really argue with him because he's just going to acquiesce to whatever she says. She's in the driver's seat, so he's not really somebody. He doesn't even know how to start, a rebuttal to it. That's the difference. He doesn't even know how to start a rebuttal. So you're never going to get into an argument with him because as soon as she starts talking, he's going to be like, "Oh, you sure probably right about that," and that's going to be the end of it.
Wow.
Think about it for a moment.
He should feel completely inadequate for even thinking such things. For not even being able to provide a rebuttal or even something to the like.
But
you really feel beneath.
You cannot choose from the options you wish were available. You can only choose from the options that actually are available. And if Pookie is what's available because the other attorneys are not answering the phone, there you go.
Hey.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller mirror code 912. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Savannah, Georgia, Byron.
Okay, Byron and Savannah, what's on your mind?
First of all, I appreciate the commentary that you always give. I've been following you for 3 years. I'm a millennial, and I'm 32. And I'm still experiencing life. That's why I think a lot of, I guess my male generation are not really productivity. I mean, they're not productive. I mean, as a male, I'm still trying to experience life. I mean, I'm still grinding. I'm working 2 jobs, and I'm about to go back to school. And really, like, I can be honest with myself. Like, I need a mentor to really push me to that point where I can be a lot more productive.
Yeah, there's the real thing right there. If I feel like Don Peebles, when I did my first documentary, Don said that, he said just about every day he gets an email from a young man who's asking him to be a mentor to him. And he was like, I wish I could, but I can't because, I would be consumed with that and nothing else. For you fellas who are looking for quote unquote a mentor, understand something. You don't learn in the classroom. You learn on the job. The first thing you need to do is get rid of your fear of failure. That's the first thing you need to do. Get rid of your fear of failure. Right. I didn't really have a mentor like that either. I didn't have a mentor to sit here. That's why I created the websites that I have and the YouTube channels I have. I created them because I didn't have a mentor. I had, what I did was I was never afraid to approach people who had more than me, knew more than me, and try to get on. I was just never afraid to do that. Now, did I ever actually get on like that? Not really, no. But every time I did that, I learned. And it was a painstaking process, but eventually I learned everything I needed to. So the first thing is, I would tell you, you need to do as much work as possible. Do not be afraid to go anywhere, do anything. Be fearless, because you have a huge learning gap that needs to be plugged. That's going to have to be plugged first. So don't be afraid to go anywhere, do anything. If I could give you one piece of advice for all of you, let me tell you where your best mentorship is going to come from. Are you listening, Byron?
Yes, sir.
For every one of you here is where your best mentorship will come from. Something that I said over a decade and a half ago when I first started talking to people online. Overthrow your employer. What does that mean? That means that you need to be the smartest person at your job. You need to know everything at your job, inside out, upside down, and backwards. If you work at a fast food restaurant, you need to know every truck, every distributor, every vendor, every repair technician. You need to be a walking encyclopedia of everything where you work. And because understand, they call you an employee, but the root of employee is employ, which means to put to use, to set in motion or put to use. Well, what are they putting you to use at? That's the part that you all don't really make the connection of. By the way, when they call me an employee, what are they employing me to do? They are employing you to run their business. And you all don't see it that way. You just see it as, I'm the fry cook, I work the drive-through window, I mop the floors. You're running the business. I answer the phone, I take care of the customers. You're running the business. The only thing that you don't do is collect the money. You don't collect the revenue. But you're running the business. And if you all saw it that way and accepted it that way, that, by the way, I'm running the business. I'm the one who comes and opens up the doors. I'm the one who comes and turns the stoves on, turns the lights on. I'm the one who turns on the phones. If there's a leak, I'm the one who's got to call a plumber. You're running the damn business. He's paying you to run the business. And when you start seeing it that way, then you realize, I'll be damned. He's paying me to run the business. Now, I'm going to make this analogy again. Think of it like a record label. When it comes to a black record label, think of through your whole life. If they hire one white person, that's it. The white folk didn't come there to work for you. What they do is they come in, they put on their black scent, they learn everything upside down and backwards. Why? Because they're foreigners to this culture. But they also realize they could probably run and take it over if they learn. So whether it is Iggy Azalea, Eminem, Machine Gun Kelly, when they come to us, it's the same thing. Hey, they're the gopher. What's her name? Pink? I'm put it out there. Well, she already said it. Let's just be honest about it. Pink was sleeping with all them damn black DJs back where she came from. Oh, I'm sorry, VH1's documentary. I'm not breaking news here. Pink was dating nothing but black dudes when she was coming up. When her and her little group of girls got to sing for Babyface and L.A. Reid, remember, Babyface told her, yeah, we'll sign you as long as you don't bring them two girls with you. That was the end of their little group. But then they put her first album out there, There You Go, and this, that, and the other. And remember what he said? She wanted to change things up. And he said, well, she wanted to change it up from what it was, but that wasn't the reason we gave her a record deal. We signed her because she was the little white girl who sounded black. If y'all see that VH1 documentary, Babyface said it. He said it outright. She was the little white girl who sounded black. That's what it was. Okay. Soon as she got her record deal together, next thing you know, we see who has she been dating since then. Now, we certainly see when she's had a choice, we see what she dated and married since then, now don't we? So what I'm saying is
Right.
she did exactly what I'm telling y'all. She got on the inside. She learned the restaurant upside down and backwards. She learned how you order the nuggets. She learned who fixes the Slurpee machine. She learned all of that. And next thing you know, she put it to use for herself. So now she's mastered the music business for herself. There's no reason any of you can't do the same thing. So in other words, Babyface and L.A. Reid and all the DJs before them, and then Baby mentored her through experience till she got signed by Babyface and L.A. Reid, and now she's been mentored for more experience, and now she's the plan that she had the whole damn time, she's put into place. If y'all really thought that Pink was into R&B like that, you weren't paying any attention. You weren't paying. She was always a Stevie Nicks fan. If I don't know what to tell you. If you really believe that any of them are really just into what we're doing like that, you're not paying attention. You're just not. You're willfully ignorant. If you really believe that. If y'all really believe that they really from the street like that, you're just not paying attention. But by the way, I respect it. Iggy Azalea, she sat up here and ran behind T.I. as long as she could till he invested in her. Rightly or wrongly, probably wrongly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is she learned his business and now she went off on her own. That's how you get mentored. Right. If you are unwilling to pay attention, I could be there with you every single day. If you're unwilling to pay attention, it won't help you. Demonstrate that you're willing to pay attention. And life is going to mentor you from there. If you're paying attention.
Right.
I'll let you have the last word.
Oh, like I said, thank you for that. All I can say, like my I mean, I be seeing the dude like my generation, my age, because usually when I see in my area, like these dudes got kids, and I'm like, y'all not ready for that. I mean, I understand I'm not ready for that, and I'm getting older. I mean, I'm 32, but I'm like, guys, we're not ready for that. We're not that productive like that, and I want to get there, but I'm just glad that I don't have.
No, brother, listen. And, here's the thing. I'm just gonna say it just like it is right here, straight, no chaser. You know, you from Savannah. Look, I'm from a mid-sized city named Shreveport. Okay, I know what it's like to be from the deep South. Savannah is not Atlanta by any stretch of the imagination. I get it, and no hate about that. But what we have to understand is that as men, particularly black men from some of these smaller southern cities, a lot of these dudes is still operating on plantation time. They still operating on hood rat time. They're grown men, but they moving like they mama in the projects.
Yeah.
And mama in the projects sit up here and throw her drawers around and get some kids, and that's the end of her life. That's the end of it for her.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah. And I was like, I have a friend of mine. He's already got, he got married and he got 5 kids, and he's like 28. I'm like, man.
But just understand, he's done.
Yeah.
He's letting you know. By the way, how old is he?
I believe he's 28. He's right behind me. And
28 with 5 kids. What the hell is a worthwhile female gonna do with him? What in the hell is a worthwhile female gonna do with some degenerate with 5, but probably about 4 or 5 different females? What the hell is a female gonna do with him?
No, it's about one.
That's
it's about one. Thank you, know.
And he's never married her.
No, he's in the church. He's 28, and I'm like, dude, you haven't seen life.
No. You're reading it wrong. You're reading it wrong.
Okay.
He's 28 years old. He's had 5 kids. 28 years old. What does he do for a living now?
I don't know.
Strike one. Has he ever had a job?
Yeah, but he has a job.
Does he have one now, sir?
Yes.
What does he do, sir?
He's a manager of a restaurant.
Okay. So is he a manager of a fast food restaurant or a fine dining establishment?
I believe fine dining.
Oh, Lord. Okay. He's 28 years old. He's got 5 kids. That chick got a padlock on his ass, basically.
Yeah.
She's got a padlock on him. That's it. 28 years old. He doesn't even have to marry her now. 5 kids? You want to go try to fight that in child support court?
I know. That's a bloody battle.
I mean, do you really think that you're going to want to go do that? That's a hell of a spot to find yourself in. You're in child support court and there's 5. You trying to sit up here and disarm the judge with 5 kids?
Yeah.
5 kids.
Yeah, 5.
I mean, the game is over for him, bro. What you going to do at 28? Here's the other thing. That chick he got pregnant, how much does she weigh? Be honest. Be honest.
No, she said. She said.
Okay, sir. Is she Los Angeles fit or is she Savannah, Georgia fit?
That's LA fit.
What size does she wear, man?
What? Repeat that.
About how much does she weigh?
From what I'm looking like, at least 150, 152.
How tall is she?
She's like 5'3".
Y'all, if he thinks she's 5, if he thinks she's 150, she's probably 180. So she's Savannah thick.
Okay.
She's Savannah thick.
I'm taller than her.
Man, look here. She's Savannah thick is what she is. So, and the other thing is she's already a done deal. She's already a done deal.
Yeah.
She got 5 kids by this dude right here. That's it. Bruh, I'm just saying 5 kids. Come on, man. She's going to have stretch marks like Interstate 20.
Yeah.
She going to have more stretch marks than the Tiger. No. Game is over, my nigga. 5 kids?
Yeah.
No. Not going to work. So that's it. He's married to her. She married to him. Game over for both of them.
Yeah.
Your job is not to be that silly. Your job is not to be that silly. Whole bunch of dudes out here are cashing their lives away early. How's he going to even move with 5 kids on top of him? How's he going to move? Because here's the killing part about it. Do they live together now?
Yes, they still live together.
5 kids. They live together. I can't imagine what she does for a living. Is she working?
Yeah. YMCA.
That doesn't sound very elevated, if I may be brutally honest.
Yeah. It is.
So he makes significantly more money than her.
Yes.
So in other words, if he ever tries to leave.
I don't think so. I don't think he got a choice.
Now, ain't that a hell of a commentary? 28 years old and don't have choices. By the way, brother, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, I was checking to see if that was you.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. I have no kids.
All right. Well, definitely, like I say, find a new group of friends. If the ones you got right now are 28 years old with 5 kids, I'm going to give you one piece of mentorship right now. Expand that social circle to some people who are a little more disciplined. I think you'll find that does wonders for you. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Folks, like I say here, going forward, to the fellows who want something and want to do something and want to be something, man, look here. Your competition is slow. Your competition is lethargic. Your competition is falling behind. It really, really is. Man, it's all out there for the taking. I don't know what to tell you. It's all out there for the taking. I don't know what to tell you. So, you got choices to make. You got choices to make. It can either be a pretty enjoyable ride or it can be hell, one or the other. You can be looking back on a whole bunch of experiences and a whole bunch of broads that you're trying to get away from, or it can be something different. These are choices for you to make. But hey, man, this is going to be something to think about here. But right now, I'm telling you, I've never seen it like this before. Productive men are in heavier demand than I've ever seen because the unproductive are in larger supply than we've ever seen. If you're not getting everything you want right now, I can truthfully tell you, the problem is you. The problem is you. I can't give them away. The problem is you. In any case, we've gotten plenty of fellas here who have let us know that they want to be added to the list here. So I'm just telling you, man, this is I just did this at the last minute because they came in on me here. This is just how serious it is. I don't know what to tell you. Don't email me if you're not serious. Don't email me for fun. Don't email me for entertainment. If you're not serious, I don't want to hear about it. If you're not serious, I don't want to hear about it. So don't email me if you're not serious. If you're not serious, don't. We don't want to hear it. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Everybody who's emailed me, I'll get to you here shortly. So be looking for a response back from me here. I'm going to try to get to all of you here tonight. And if you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all of your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. They'll be stealing the things you hear here and trying to rephrase them on their lame programs next week. But you got it here tonight, so click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't joined our Patreon, you definitely want to go ahead and do that. We do that every weekend. The patrons have actually already known most of this now for weeks. They've actually known all of this for weeks now. Everybody else finds out later, but definitely you can take that opportunity to join it as well. I saw some folks who joined tonight, so I'll be seeing you there this weekend. Big shout out here to Dion Coleman in the super chat. And by the way, just a reminder on that, Dion, thank you very much for your support. YouTube and Google keep 1/3 of everything you contribute. They keep 1/3 of it. So I want to thank you very much for your support. I appreciate that. But of that $2.99, YouTube is going to keep $100 of it. So if you want another alternative, CashApp or PayPal, I have a Venmo now, as a matter of fact. I need to start posting that as well. But definitely consider that. Or we can just make Google Rich, whichever you prefer. But thank you very much for your support regardless. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Remember, for everybody who is listening here who has already signed up for it, I see you, Erica. Everybody who's already signed, Miss Size 2, for everybody here who's already signed up, it will be on the 14th. You'll be receiving an email from me letting you know. You'll be receiving an email from us the day of. So be watching your emails and things, because for some of you, I got to get back to you to confirm a few things, but be watching it, okay? Be watching. By the way, Power, if you're actually an employee with YouTube, hit me up. I'd love to find out a few things. If you actually work for them, if for any of y'all who are actually legit YouTube employees, hit me up. I'd like to find out a few things. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank all of you for joining us, and this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black, and until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business, or your business will handle you.